There were times that fell through. I almost decided maybe I need to give it next year, anything else. But I remember then I was thinking that there was another session by Sandeep. He just gave a reminder that how can you think of stopping if your goal is so big, you can't think of stopping, right? If your conviction is real, you can't think of stopping. From then on, I actually properly started studying, and it was a good journey. So for the laminated sheet, it wasn't so much as I needed practice, it was just a shock, right?
Yeah.
Like the first time you use it, you're a little taken aback because that's not what you expected. Don't fear disappointment. Don't fear not getting marks. Don't do easy questions more to feel good. Don't know that if you're weak in something, you can become strong in it, but not until you face it.
First of all, big congratulations. What a
Thank you.
staggering 765 score that is. When you texted me this morning, and you just casually said, hey, you know what? I got my score and I got like 100 percentile. And I was like, whoa, what? And then I quickly just saw that this is the second attempt in less than 30, 35, 40 days,
Yeah, a month and a few days. Yeah.
a month and a few days. Achieving 100. So it's not every day that we see a score of a 765. So achieving 100 percentile in both quant and verbal, it shines so brilliantly. So what is even more surprising is your previous score, which was on August 5th, which is a solid 98 percentile, which is what we say 695, your GMAT score. It's a very good score to start with, right?
Yeah.
And you texted Richa about a very unsettling feeling and you wanted to have a conversation. So we'll talk
Right.
about that in the very beginning. First, diving into the score that we have and what you got yesterday. This is September 19th, right? Quant
Yes.
100 percentile, verbal 100 percentile, and a data inside 97 percentile. And the August 5th score, which is a 98 percentile, a 695. 94th percentile, verbal 90th percentile, and data insights 93 percentile. Now, we did have a very brief text conversation saying that
Correct.
the reason why the score was at 695 was both you were unwell and you were stressed as well. But could you just take us through what happened on that day? What were the good cop, bad cop moments or the elements that really affected the preparation and on the exam day? And then what did we do? What did you do from that moment, the next few days until the score?
Got it. So to start off with, Uh, the first exam that I was writing, I was pretty confident. Like I had gone through the course material and I had studied well, and I thought I can score 100 percentile in the previous exam itself. But there were a few things that unsettled me. One was maybe it was just I was writing a competitive exam after 5.5 years or longer, maybe because I've been working for that time. So there was just this thing, some question that came inside me on the night before, and then no, I didn't sleep well the night before my exam. And that was lingering in my mind in the morning that I woke up that, hey, you didn't sleep well. I hope the exam goes well. Oh, I hope you're in your 100%. Right. And then while I was going to the test center, I was telling myself, it's okay. If you don't get one or two questions, don't waste your time. Go ahead. Don't think about it. I was just telling myself that. And somewhere I was telling myself, it's okay. Even if you get a 98 percentile, it's fine. You just go there and do it. But and then when I went to the test center, the first thing that unsettled me was I was used to writing on having a pen and paper beside me and kind of just scribbling. And I scribble very small. Like I don't do a lot of calculations. For me, it's about like just two, three numbers maybe that I need to keep and I write it down. So what they gave me was like a huge
Combination.
sheet, and it was a marker that it smudges if your hands are sweaty, like mine, sometimes when you're writing, right? So that was one thing that I think took away some amount of my little bit comfort in that test environment. Plus, there were some thoughts around the exam that I had beforehand itself. So I would say when I started that exam, I went through it in the con section. I knew most of it, and then I came across a question that I knew how to solve. I knew I was doing it, and I switched up to the top part of my paper to write it, and I smudged the below part, and then I was like, "Oh, what have I done?" And then I wasted some time over there. I felt demoralized, and that I think trickled down into the verbal section where I started second guessing my intuition of what is right by kind of thinking that I have to get this right. There is no getting this wrong anymore. I have missed some in the quant, and I knew I got something wrong in the quant for sure. So I was like, and that kind of again steamrolled into spending extra time, even though I knew the answers and so on. So that I would say was the first thing. And then there was another thing is the timing of your exam. I would say choose the time that you think you're in your peak performance. Like don't practice based on the time that you choose the exam. I mean, that's fair, and you can do that if if you have no option, then definitely practice. Because I did practice waking at that time in that specific way and doing, but it's not definitely not what I'm used to in terms of when I feel I'm at my peak performance, right? During the day. And I think everyone has their rhythm, which builds over years. So don't mess around with it. Try to get a slot where you are at your peak performance. That was one change I made this time. So that. And then after I got the score, that was the weirdest part because that's uh, when I got the score in front of me, I was like, oh, 98, not bad. But I felt numb in some way. Like I wasn't happy, I wasn't sad. I didn't know how to feel about it. And then I started reaching out to you, some other friends of mine, and everyone was congratulating me and saying that it's a good score. You can now try to look at your applications, Harvard, and all of that. But there was just this some unsettling feeling, I would call it. I would say it was my gut telling me, or it was something I needed to do for myself. Where for me, GMAT as a process was something that I was transforming my outlook, and it was a step that I'm taking over holistically, not just for an MBA or just it's MBA also is a part of a holistic transformation that I see for my life, right? So I decided that it's not about round one or round two or anything. It's about can I can I understand what went wrong? Can I adapt? Can I evolve? And can I give it again? Right. So a lot of people advise me not to do it. It's roughly 35,000 that you're spending on another exam. What if you get the same score? Then you'll miss out on round one also. All these questions. So I would say that was a very tough period for me to take a call. So for 2 weeks after the exam, I did nothing.
Okay.
I just sat and I used to journal or write what I feel every single day in terms of just not just GMAT, just career goals, aspirations, whatever I had. And then through that process, I was like, one thing is clear. I see myself getting more. I see myself doing better. I will take that shot. I'll take a bet on myself and I'll go for it. So around August 22nd, I booked the exam and then I studied for the next 2.5 weeks. This time, not as much as I studied before because I had work and everything to manage with. But I went with an attitude that I know I will do this and I can kind of optimize what I need to do and just go for it. So instead of practicing here and there and like flailing my hands everywhere, I only did things that I could not solve. Like I would say from that exam when I decided till now, I practiced my accuracy in whatever practice sessions that I crafted for myself were around 60%. That was because I only took the questions that were the toughest for me to do, right? Like I would not touch top stats and PNC because I knew I was solid in it. But algebra and those inequalities where you need to substitute numbers, right? And you need to come up with scenarios that fit and don't fit. That was not something um, came like intuitively to me because I'm a solver. Like I used to get into solving. So then I just took those questions and I focused on that and changed the time, like I said, from to what suits me the best. And apart from that, I would say it was just a mental thing that on the day of the exam, I went with the attitude that I'm going to kill this. Like, I'm not questioning myself about it. At least if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. No one needs to know about it that I thought that way. But you need to be in that frame of mind where you feel that good going into the exam. So I felt like that helped me. So the
Absolutely.
90/90 is because of that. After 4 questions, I think I was in a flow state where it was automatic for me. Like I could go on. And then I took a break for DI and I think I should not have. Like maybe I could have got a 90 on the DI also, like if I was going with that flow. But yeah, it was good. Like entering that flow state after long felt nice.
We'll talk about the exam point, what happened on the exam day a little in some time.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love the idea when you say that the attitude with which you go to the exam that I'm going to kill it, right? And that comes with the fact that you've done enough practice and you've done your bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So the unknown and the known, you've conquered it, and then you will do what is best. And you've gone through the exam once can expect, right? The unexpected. So going all the way in the very beginning. So could you just tell about yourself? How did this idea, you mentioned that, wanted this entire process to be holistic. Of course, MBA was a part of the journey. When you initially probably came on board, you did mention, the M7 was a target school as well. But how did this entire idea of the GMAT come into being? More importantly, when you initially started, what were your challenging areas? Because you were an engineer, I don't know, is it easier for me to say that was quant always an easier section, or what happened? Was it challenging?
Okay.
Tell me both, all three, quant, verbal, DI. How was it initially in the beginning, and what kind of transformed to 100 percentile?
So should I start with what made me want to write the GMAT?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell me about your background as well. Where are you working?
Okay. So I did my bachelor's in engineering along with a master's in economics from Amiths Goa campus.
Oh, interesting.
And then I went on to work with Microsoft where I still work.
Right.
And it's been a great journey for me over there. And the reason I thought about doing a GMAT was I just felt at a certain point in time, like I started wondering about 10 years down the line. Um, like I was a person who used to plan 1 to 2 years maybe, right? And I realized that I need to shift my outlook towards 10 years, not just the immediate. And then I was looking at the trends of where the world is going, what are the subjects that interest me, and what are my core strengths that I think I can uh, contribute value to the society with, and as well as monetize, right? So because there's a personal front also. So and then I felt that okay, exposure outside of India. I really enjoyed my stint doing research in US. So I thought, yeah, I would enjoy some exposure outside India in the environment in which they study and everything. So then there was a question between masters and MBA, and then um, I had a feeling that I have a strong technical background and I'm as good as someone who's out of their master's. So, but an MBA would be something that definitely would, not just for the curriculum, but the networking, the exposure, the doors, the opportunities, right? So that's why I chose the GMAT over that. And I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't given a competitive exam in 5 years. So I was like, wow, this is exciting, right? Like, and I attended a demo session by Sandeep, and I was pumped. Like someone, like I think the way Sandeep thinks, and to hear that from someone else, whereas maybe I was not so used to hearing it from others in my life, maybe. So it was just like, yeah, you got me. I am. That's what I feel. That's
You
how
have my
I'm gonna.
attention. The
Yeah,
philosophy
you have my.
matches.
Yeah, you have my attention, and cool. I'm gonna do this. And that was also a long journey. So I after the demo session, I took the self-paced course.
Yeah.
So then you have work and everything. I would take my own time to study, but here and there are lapses. You make a decision and you want to push, but your routine of your life and how you have been living for the past 5 6 years obviously trickles into making that shift. So there were times that fell through. I almost decided maybe I need to give it next year, anything else. But I remember then I was thinking that there was another session by Sandeep, just a webinar sort of thing where he was talking about, and he just gave a reminder that how can you think of stopping if your goal is so big you can't think of stopping, right? If your conviction is real, you can't think of stopping. So I put it out of the mind that I'm going to stop. So that from then on, I actually properly started studying, and it was a good journey. So how I studied was initially, I would say, surprisingly, quant was not my strongest. I felt like I was pretty good with verbal, in terms of my brain functions very well in critical reasoning because I like to look for the like how can I prove this wrong, right? Like how do I? So I enjoy doing that, and so that was my strong suit. I read a bit, so RC felt fine. Um, but yeah, here and there, I used to make mistakes. I wasn't nowhere close to 90, 90, but like I would get a decent score. With quant, what happened is it was all about speed. Like I knew, I mean, it's not a super difficult math problem, but just I would say going conceptually being able to visualize was something I learned now. Like in quant, speed is one thing, but can you visually solve a question is a whole different thing without putting a pen to the visually by mean in your head, but for me it's more visual when I think about it, like a number line in my head or it's something forms, right? So doing that was something that I had to learn, and that came with practice and looking at how Sir solves the questions and like looking at the explanations for it and all of that. So I built my quant aptitude more strongly over that period of time. And verbal, I was decent. I kept practicing a bit of RC's. The octave method helped me speed up, I would say, in terms of the RC understanding and help me get rid of my biases. So most of the reasons I used to get things wrong in verbal was not the understanding part of it. It was the biases or me putting my own twist to it and trying to solve it. So getting rid of that and having a structured framework to think about it. So that helped. And the data insights section is, I would say, a mixture of these two.
Right.
But you need to get familiar with the different varieties of questions that come because some graphs or some things, if you're seeing information presented in a format that's extremely new, you will kind of freak out, right? But luckily for me, I work in the data analytics space, so for me that was also fine. Like I was okay with it, and again, speed for me, everything was about changing my um, what I was used to, changing my approach to things, and also being able to sit 3 to 4 hours in a stretch without any distraction, focusing, targeting, and um, concentrating on giving the exam and being fast at it. So that was the main thing that I had to improve on.
Right. So one of the things that you highlighted is on the time when you were almost about to give up on the exam preparation altogether, and then this
Yeah, I was going to
interaction of
delay it.
yeah, or delay probably. And the webinar, the idea of having Sandeep sir's webinar, or rather he, coming again, even for even a self-paced course student, is so that if you are on the verge or you're having this any thought, right, it's almost addressing some of the things that you've not asked, and it's like almost knocking. If you are on that verge, come on, wake you up and come back to the form. So I would call that as a game-changing moment for you, because then you became a lot more consistent. So were there any other materials or such kind of sessions or videos that kind of played important role that stood out in your entire preparation?
The DI mocks, the mock portal that you have where the DI section is mocked
Yeah.
is something that I used extensively. I don't think I mean, it was perfect for me to targetedly improve my time in some particular section. The sectional tests are really good. Like that, I think anyone giving the exam should definitely do the sectionals for sure. And one thing would be I mean, I enjoyed it, but huge value over there is the CR long sitting, 100 questions. Do it 48 hours before your exam. You get a list of 100, and then it kind of fine tunes your mind to that sort of thinking. Like, because it's a different sort of thinking when it comes to CR, right? And doing 100 questions in 3 hours and like timing yourself, do it in a time way, go for it and like do that. So I did that 48 hours before my exam. And I think that kind of freshens up all that in your brain. So those two things were really important. And game changing, apart from that, most of the times has been hearing Sandeep talk. For me, he's like even though I've not interacted one-on-one with him, it was something whenever he spoke, I resonated, right? And having that just helps. Like I don't know how to explain it in words, but like it just helps in saying that okay, right? Like you stay true to your convictions and just go through the process and push. And even if it's tough, push because it's gonna be tough. It's fine. You
Yes.
can't pay too much attention to it.
So through your preparation, when we talk about how did you structure your preparation in terms of how many hours did you finally, when you sat down to finally give your, give your exam, even if it's first attempt, how many hours of effort you would put in? What kind of, were you using error log? What's, study plan? Any conventional approach that you had taken that kind of helped you streamline into finally giving the exam?
So I went through the self-paced course the way they said it. The reason I took a course or like I went to top 1% was because I know I have work. I didn't want to put in time to understand which topics I should learn or what I should do or go through multiple material. I just said, this seems the right fit. I'm just going to follow the Excel. I went through the Excel in the way that it was given pre-work, post-work, everything. I finished it up. Once I finished it up, then I did the 700. So while I was doing that, during that part where I was going through the self-paced course, it was roughly come back home at around 7, sit at around 9 to 12:31. That was my 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours a day I was putting in. And then after I got done with that, then I started the 700, 800 quant as well as DI section. And I used to give one sectional each day. And I would do around 30, 40. How many hours I can do in 2 hours, I would just put a timer for 2 hours and just go at it. And how much ever gets done, gets done. And then the next day I pick up from there. Right. And after that was done, I had 5 days before my exam that I kept free to give like just focus, give practice questions. I make notes. I'm a person who makes notes. So I went through my own notes, reminding myself of the nuances that I noted down for myself, how to speed up in certain questions, when making the box, what to remember, what not. All those small tricks that I formulated or were important to me, I just noted down and I was revising that. So 5 days of concentrated maybe effort of focusing on my tough parts that I knew that I needed to pay attention to and giving mocks. I think I gave around 5 mocks in total, one official mock before my second exam, but 4 official mocks before my first exam, and the what do you call it, the mock portal mocks also I gave. So those were good, and since the difficulty on those were very high, it kept me motivated. I would say to not settle. Just I was continuously finding places for improvement. So it was give mock, find where you struggled, target mock, find where you struggled, target. So that was the approach.
Right. So now coming on the moment of truth, which is on the exam day, right? So here this yesterday. So what was the order of your, the section that you choose? And did you finally overcome writing in that laminated sheet? Did you kind of practice that? Did you order some of the sheets back at home so that, that should not really underwhelm your preparation? What all did happen in the exam that you gave yesterday that went right, that did not go right according to you? But of course, I don't think there's nothing that went wrong. You got 100 percentile there.
I would still say there was something that went wrong in the DI
Please
section,
highlight.
but yeah, but because I'm always looking for room for improvement. But I would start with, so for the laminated sheet, it wasn't so much as I needed practice, it was just a shock, right?
Yeah.
Like the first time you use it, you're a little taken aback because that's not what you expected, right? Or you thought about. So next time I was more comfortable with it, I set up the place around me, like the keyboard is unnecessary in the GMAT exam, right? I took it up and put it behind. I told so all small things that I didn't even talk to the person over there before that. I thought the keyboard is here means I have to keep this here and solve it over there and then mark it. I just said, can I move these things around? And they said, sure, you can clear. This area is yours, they said. So I was like, okay, fine. I kept the pad where it would fit well, suited me, set it up, and then went for it. One thing that I didn't mention that I did do after my first attempt was get this timer.
Right.
I realized that this you realize in your mock also. Question number 7 out of something means you have to write the 7th also. It's not 10 minus 7. You don't have 3 left. You have 4 left.
Correct.
Right? Like you're solving the 7th one and you
have 3 more left.
So that small thing is good to note and always remember. And a countdown timer, because a count up timer is very different from a countdown timer. Right? When your time is ticking down, when you look at it, you feel differently than when you look. So I just got that countdown timer. That was something that I got after my first attempt to just make sure that I don't slow down. My fear was because I'm working more and I should not lose the practice that I had in the first exam and my speed should not go down.
Right.
And on the D-Day, yeah, if I could improve something apart, I mean, I did very well in Quant and Verbal because I was in a flow state. In the DI section, I think there was a part where I sort of, how do I put it? It was, I had solved a particular question, and for some reason, I felt like I should reevaluate it. But I just decided because my exam was going well, I was like, it's okay. I'm just gonna finish it. I don't wanna waste some time. I mean, that was a strategic decision. I was okay with something going wrong. And then I strategically did that, but I forgot to bookmark it. And then I had to come back and I was like, which question was it? And by the time the time was done, maybe one more question I could have corrected because I had 2 minutes left towards the end. I kind of guessed the last two anyway because there was not much time.
Right.
But the earlier one I could have solved. I had solved a 3/4. I just needed to. So only that I think I could have changed. Apart from that, it went pretty well. As
So it was Quant, Verbal, and DI, right?
Quant, Verbal, and DI.
DI with a break of 10 minutes. And you said you didn't want that break?
In retrospect, obviously, when I finished, I was like, oh yeah, okay, fine. I have to take, because I'm used to the way I did mocks was also the same. Quant, Verbal, take a break, then go for DI. Because DI feels lengthier and you need a bit of math and everything and like keen observation, I would say. Like in the graphs, you don't really need to calculate to the exact percentage, right? You need to look at the options, judge like how much does it look? Does it look double? Does it look triple? So I just usually take a break and put myself into that mindset of strategic solving, and then I'm like, okay, fine, go for it. So that's how I switch.
Amazing. All the insights that you've given are like to the point, extremely useful. So now if you have to summarize from your experience, one of the richest, I would say, based on the score that you have, what do's and don'ts would you scream from the rooftop, to help others to avoid the pitfalls and achieve this incredible 100 percentile score, if you have to say it, in lists? Yes.
Don't fear disappointment. Don't fear not getting marks. Don't do easy questions more to feel good. Don't know that if you're weak in something, you can become strong in it, but not until you face it, right? So do the most difficult things. Eat the frog, or like whichever is your toughest thing, your biggest nightmare, face it first. And then once that is done, everything else feels easier. So go with that approach. That is one thing that I would say. So don't postpone the tough parts. Definite do is this strategy always helps me, but always write. Even if you want to make notes, small notes, but make notes for yourself. Put it in your words on what explain what you learned in your words to yourself. That really helps. Even if you understand the explanation that sir is giving or whatever, can you explain it to yourself or someone else in your way, right? That is something that you should do. Concepts are key. Like I said, timing and practice, that's just amount of time you give it. But for concepts, if you're not doing it correctly, the time will become unlimited for you to kind of get through it. So definitely do concepts. Do not choose a time for the exam slot that doesn't suit you, right? Go with your strength, choose a time slot that works for you. And on that day, it's just you and the exam. It's your internal mindset. Cut out the noise, cut out people having expectations from you or not having expectations, the money you have spent. Nothing matters. On that day, feel like a king and go and give the exam. Because worst case, it won't happen and you'll give it again like me. So, and maybe it'll happen the next time around. And I would say there is luck involved. You never know what the questions you get are. It might fall in your favor, it might not, but go with that attitude anyway.
Right. Amazing, amazing insights there. First of all, I have to congratulate you again, Ram Sandeep sir, for having trusted him in this entire process, for really from the time, the philosophy matched and to this date, to finally validating what he taught and to realizing 100 percentile score and not really settling in spite of getting the 98 percentile, really listen to your intuition, having with that unsettling feeling, because I think that's what Sandeep also would do in your position. And you've just been, incredible as a student. Thank you again for choosing him as your mentor. Listen to him at times when I think you were slightly going another direction. And, we're so happy that this can really help you get to the schools that you are aiming for. And we wish that happens very, very soon, now alone, right? So maybe in the round 1 or in the round 2, the M7 should happen to you. I mean, the best thing that can happen is that you have admits from all the schools and you're spoiled for choices. With this score, of course, and with a great profile like yours, and I'll definitely connect separately again to just give you some more insights on what school you should really take up, at least my 50 cents, I would say. And any message that you would like to share to Sandeep, sir, that you said you would.
Yeah, to stay as unabashed as he is and, exude that confidence in himself that it's rare to be able to do at that stage in front of everyone. Because I think a lot of students, and hopefully there are more like me, who feel that way, but haven't seen what that feeling can take you to. And seeing him made me realize that believing in yourself and having that conviction with which you do anything is really gives you an aura, right? And that's something that I admire about him. I would love maybe someday to be able to have a chat with him. But yeah, definitely to keep inspiring people and being the mentor he is, challenging everyone to do more than what they think they can do. So
absolutely. Did you get a chance to go through the KTW sessions?
Yeah, I did. So that's what, like, it's so so interesting that I love connecting the dots, right? Like I love that whole idea. And if even my LinkedIn profile, if you are right, like my interests lie in the intersection of technology, markets, and human behavior. And I'm like, I was blown by how he connects everything and how he learns from history and predicts the future. Because essentially, we live in the present that connects these two parts. And to navigate it, it's important to learn and then improve. And that's how I view it. And like the way he put it across, some crazy facts which I didn't know, but yeah, the approach towards it and everything was really interesting. So I think I saw the KTW sessions in like 3 days. It was one weekend or something, and that was my hobby. Like it was like I would eat food, watching it, and then I would do some of my work, then come back, watch it, put my headphones on, and just lie on the bed and watch it. Like it was just like Netflix for me. It was that interesting, right? So I really I enjoyed it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you again, Amith. Like I said, we'll stay connected. If you do want to really speak to our admission consultant, I'll help you connect as well. But lovely, lovely chatting up with you. And here's wishing again all the very best from your facilitator, Richa, to from me, from the entire team of Top 1% and Sandeep sir for having trusting this, and really wish you all the best. Thank you again.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
have to really do this. A big, big, big applaud to you, for
Thank you.
incredible score. Super.
Thank you so much.
Good
Thank you so
luck.
much.
Yeah.
Thanks for your support. Everyone has been super helpful to me, and thanks.
Absolutely. Good luck. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Take
You
care.
too. Bye bye.